Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In a major victory for low-wage workers, New York State's cleared the way to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for the state's 200,000 fast food workers. A special wage board recommended the hike Wednesday, which is expected to be approved by the state's labor commissioner. The wage hike will be phased in by 2018 in New York City and by 2021 across New York State. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo praised the recommendation.
When New York acts, the rest of the states follow. That is the New York way. We've always been different. We've always been first. We've always been the most progressive. And this statement today is going to radiate all across the country. And SEIU and the community organizations can go all across the country and say, if New York can do it, why can't you do it?
The move comes 3 years after fast food workers in New York City launched the Fight for 15 campaign, which quickly spread across the country. In related news, the University of California also announced Wednesday it, too, would be raising its minimum wage to $15 an hour over the next 3 years. The move will affect both employees and subcontractors. The university is the state's third largest employer with approximately 200,000 workers. The announcement was made by University of California President Janet Napolitano, the former Secretary of Homeland Security. The Obama administration's issued 2 permits to allow Shell to begin oil drilling in the Arctic's remote Chukchi Sea. Earlier this year, a report by the Department of Interior calculated there would be a, quote, 75% chance of 1 or more large spills in the Chukchi Sea if Shell drills there. A grand jury has indicted accused Charleston shooter Dylann Roof on federal hate crimes charges for massacring 9 African-Americans inside the historic Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina in June. Roof was indicted on 33 federal counts total and could face the death penalty. U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch announced the indictment on Wednesday.
We are here today to announce that a federal grand jury in South Carolina has returned a 33-count indictment against Dylann Storm Roof, charging him with federal hate crimes and firearms charges for killing and attempting to kill African-American parishioners at Emanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, because of their race and in order to interfere with their exercise of their religion.
In Ferguson, Missouri, officials have appointed the first African-American to head the city's predominantly white force. Andre Anderson, a 24-year veteran of Glendale, Arizona police force, will become the interim Ferguson police chief. The appointment comes 4 months after a Justice Department probe found widespread discrimination by Ferguson police. In news from Greece, the parliament's approved a second round of austerity measures which have been demanded by European creditors as a condition of the country's bailout. On Wednesday, lawmakers overwhelmingly voted in favor of the measures despite last-minute fears of a rebellion within Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras's left-leaning Syriza party. Outside, hundreds rallied against austerity. In Turkey, the government's announced new plans to tighten security along its border with Syria 2 days after a suicide bomb killed more than 30 youth activists in the Turkish city of Suruç. According to government officials, the suspected bomber is a Turkish citizen with possible ties to the self-proclaimed Islamic State. New York City has backed down on plans to curb the rapid expansion of the Wall Street-backed ride-sharing firm Uber. The city council was set to vote as early as today on a measure to cap the number of Uber vehicles while the city studies Uber's impact. Uber had pushed back with a stable of lobbyists and former government officials. Now the administration of Mayor Bill de Blasio has backed down, dropping the vehicle cap, at least for now. In Texas, new information has emerged about the arrest of Sandra Bland, the 28-year-old African-American woman found dead in a jail cell in what authorities claim was a suicide by hanging. Sandra Bland was stopped for not signaling a lane change. Dashcam video shows Texas State Trooper Brian Encinia forced her from her car, threatening to, quote, light her up after she failed to put out her cigarette. Now Waller County Sheriff Glenn Smith says Bland told jailers she'd previously attempted suicide, but an attorney for Bland's family said relatives have no evidence of a prior suicide attempt. A local ABC station, meanwhile, obtained a voicemail Bland left for a friend while she was in jail.
Hey, this is me. I just was able to see the judge. I don't really know. They got me set at a $5,000 bond. I'm still just at a loss for words, honestly, about this whole process. How they're switching lanes with no signal turning to all of this, I don't even know. But I'm still here, so I just call me back when you can.
Video of Bland's arrest shows her accusing police of slamming her head into the ground and saying, "I can't even hear." Texas authorities have denied claims the 52-minute police dashcam video they released was edited, telling Mother Jones the apparent glitches in the video resulted from a YouTube upload error. Meanwhile, hundreds gathered in New York to honor Sandra Bland.
We're demanding an end to white supremacy. We're going to be on the streets. We're going to continue fighting. We're done with the terror, and we're going to keep fighting. We're going to, by any means necessary, we'll be out here. Another person dies, we'll be out here. We're going to continue the fight until it's done.
The New York protesters also raised questions about the death of Kendra Chapman, an 18-year-old African-American found dead in her jail cell in Alabama just one day after Sandra Bland was found dead. Chapman was arrested July 14th on accusations of stealing a cell phone. Just like in Sandra Bland's case, authorities have claimed she hanged herself, but her family doesn't believe it. At the protest in New York, demonstrators also mourned a 25-year-old African-American transgender woman who was found beaten to death in Tampa, Florida on Tuesday.
I'm here today representing India Clark. She was the 10th trans woman of color murdered in this country this year. Say her name. India Clark. Say her name. India Clark. Say her name. India Clark.
India Clark is at least the 10th transgender woman murdered in the United States this year, part of what experts are calling an epidemic. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.